General Vincent Boles spent decades in the United States Army, an expert on foreign weapon systems, and joins us as well. Gordan, start with you. Any peaceful explanation, either A, for the weapon systems, or B, showing them off?
Absolutely not. You know, China says, well, it just wants to defend itself. Well, it is building weapons that are generally considered to be offensive. So clearly Beijing is on a rampage. And also, we've got to remember that within the last 6 weeks, they've made threats to use nuclear weapons against both Japan and Australia, neither of which threaten China. So right now, with their building missile silos, about 345 of them, we can see that they don't want what's called a minimal deterrent. What they want is a war-fighting capability, specifically the capability to intimidate other countries, including the U.S., to surrender without fighting.
General, I think the other word for that would be first strike capability. Of the weapon systems that we talked about and other ones that you've been researching, which one scares you the most?
Their missile capability. That would be that we have 11 nuclear aircraft carriers. They have 2 conventional carriers. Navy, we talk about size, but our Navy is much more capable. The thing that would keep me awake at night are their missile capabilities and their air defense capabilities if we were to launch missiles against them.
Gordan, you've studied what's happening in Beijing intimately, understand the Communist Party. Why now?
I think that a number of things going on, Leland. Xi Jinping, the Chinese ruler, has taken power from everybody, which means he's now got more or less full accountability. He's also raised the cost of losing political struggles. He's being criticized for policy failures. I'm sure he's feeling pretty vulnerable. And if he could, and I'm not saying he can, but if he could create military misadventure abroad to unify the party. You know, Xi Jinping right now is doing things that Mao Zedong, his hero, did, the founder of the People's Republic, in terms of trying to rally the Chinese people against his political enemies. Well, Mao didn't have the capability to start a war to do that, but Xi Jinping does.
At least if you listen to the Chinese, of course, they have no interest in war, of course, as you pointed out, Gordan. They say everything is just to defend themselves. Take a listen to the Chinese defense minister spokesman.
中方多次讲过，我们发展两军关系是有原则的，那就是中方的主权、尊严和核心利益不容侵犯。
All right. Principal and most important line of that, China's sovereignty, dignity, and core interests are not to be infringed upon. General, do they have more capabilities than they need to just make sure mainland China isn't threatened?
Oh, very, very much so. No, their army is predominantly in their neighborhood based there, so I don't see them projecting a military ground force. But I would be concerned about their missile force, as I said before, and they have more than enough capability to defend themselves. That capability is designed, as you said in your introductory piece, area denial and threaten us from coming into their area.
Real quick, General, before I get Gordan in here, this video, the Daily Caller flagged, it was taken near a U.S. Military base. Showing something we've never seen before. It almost looks like a bat wing that's locked down to a trailer. Nobody will talk about it or comment about it. Is it a surprise, perhaps, or an accident that we now suddenly have video of this thing on the same day the Chinese have been showing off all their drones?
Well, as with all things, as Gordan would say, as with all things with China, one never knows for sure. But that's a capability they have. The thing that concerns me about the drone is the stealth capability of the drone. Yeah. Not only can you make a lot of them, but we won't be able to see them, and that's pretty significant.
Yeah, we want to be clear. This was actually seen in the United States near one of Lockheed's facilities. Gordan, last question to you. What's next that we need to watch from by China? What would scare you?
I think that it's probably... There's a couple of places. One of them would be Taiwan, of course. We see these almost daily flights into Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, which is still international airspace, but it is hostile. We see Japan's waters being incurred by the Chinese. They almost daily around the Senkaku Islands in the East China Sea. And remember, we've got Chinese troops south of the line of actual control in Ladakh, which is generally considered to be Indian territory. So around China's periphery to the south and to the east, there are aggressive Chinese moves against its neighbors.
Yeah, and we remember that battle with some Indian troops. It didn't have weapons, but it was awfully bloody. Gentlemen, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Leland.
Thank you. The Communist Party censorship.